Hey, how y'all doing out there in video land? This is Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. Well, today we got an unboxing. We got an unboxing. And after the unboxing, I'm going to go into some of the 3.5-inch blades that I've been carrying over the years. And I just want to let y'all know about them and see them, because I know it's getting towards Christmas time and people are starting to look for gift ideas. And I think a 3.5-inch blade folder is a great gift idea. But anyway, let's get into this. Let's have some fun today. Hope everybody's doing good today. Here we go. It's already been opened. I did a first video and had a blooper, so you're going to miss the actual unboxing, but it's still going to be fun. And what one did I get today? It came from Amazon, the Cold Steel store at Amazon. This is the first item I purchased from the Cold Steel store at Amazon. American Lawman. Blade length, 3.5 inches. Overall length, 8 1/8 inches. Steel CPM S35EN. Weight, 4.5 ounces. Blade thickness, 3.5 millimeters. 3.5 millimeters. Handle, 4 5/8. Was it made out of? G10. The model number is a 58B. American Lawman. Cold steel. The blade has a DLC coating on it. It's absolutely beautiful. American Lawman, many of you may know, has been one of my all-time favorites forever. Ever since it's existed. I have absolutely loved the American Lawman. It's one of my all-time favorites. It's one of my most highly recommended knives for people who want a 3.5-inch blade folder that's a great EDC folder that's easy to conceal. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Well, anyway, let's get into the American Lawman. And which one was this? This package has been already opened and it's no longer inside of it. But it does have the extra blade clip inside of there. But we're going to start off with that one. And here it is here. The new Cold Steel American Lawman. It's got a saber flat ground blade. It's DLC coated, 3.5 inches long, 3.5 millimeters thick. I love the way this knife blade is made, people. It's one thing that's always made me like this knife. The thickness of it. I like the way it stick to the tip. Absolutely love it. It's got G10 handle scales. These have a little bit less texturing to them. They're the thinner G10. 6061 aluminum backspacer. It's got the new pocket clip logo. The C/S. Cold steel. Absolutely love these knives, people. This knife feels absolutely perfect in every grip. Forward grip, your standard grip, reverse grip, comfortable for your thumb. This knife is awesome. Choke up grip. To me, this is a Hall of Famer knife. If there was a folding knife Hall of Fame, this would definitely have to be in it. Or it wouldn't be a legitimate folding knife Hall of Fame. This is an awesome knife, people. I think it's one of the greatest folders of all time. Single blade folders for 3.5-inch blade lengths. All right. Now that we've let that one out, well, you want to see the sharpness of it? Do a little sharpness real quick for it. That's all we need to do. We don't need to do anymore. We got a lot to talk about here. So let's get into these next knives. First, we're starting off with the cold steel knives. These are my Christmas suggestions for 3.5-inch blade folders for Christmas. Xmas, Christmas. All right. St. Nick Day, whatever you want to call it. Holiday season. I know a lot of people don't like to say Christmas no more. I say Christmas. That's what it is. All right, here we go. Well, the first one I got for these was this one. This is a Tough X finish. Japanese AUS 8A, stainless steel, American Lawman. This is the original model. It had thick scales. I like these scales the best, people. I like the thicker scales better. But the thin scales are cool too, though, because they're easier to conceal. They're much flatter and slimmer in your pocket, and don't imprint in your pocket as much as like a thicker scale knife would. But I just like the way the thicker scale knives feel in my hand. I tend to like thicker scale folding knives for all of my personal pocket knives. I like the best, people. Y'all know that. Anyway, this is the first one. Tough X finish. That was my, as y'all know, I always buy two, right? That was the one that I use as my collector or as my backup to the other one. Here's the one I carried. I still carry it today. It's the inside the jacket pocket knife. It doesn't have pocket clips on it. It's been all completely polished out. Absolutely love it. This is one of my smoothest knives ever until I got my new Engage. This is probably one of the smoothest triad folders I've ever owned, though. I don't think I have a triad folder that's smoother than this one. When you operate this one, people, it just feels like there's nothing. There's nothing, but this blade is very tight. There's no side to side play, no up and down play, nothing at all. But yet it operates like this. I love the Teflon washers and phosphorus brown washer setup that Andrew Jenko suggests to use on non-bearing knives. I agree with him. I think the Teflon, the phosphorus bronze washers is probably all you really need, but the thin Teflon washer against the blade tang and the washer and the washer itself just adds an extra layer of what I would call silky smoothness. This knife is silky smooth. It's incredibly smooth. I still use it today. It doesn't hurt my fingers or anything. It's just a beautiful knife. These knives are beautiful, people. Beautiful. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. American Lawman. One of my favorite knives of all time. This one right here, which one is this? Oh yeah, we're moving up the ladder. After the Oz 8 came CTS 6HP. And this is the hollow high saber hollow grounding. And this one, they came out with the thinner scales with less texturing. This one I've carried the mess out of too, because it's one of my favorite knives. I still carry it. Well, until now, because it's fixing to get replaced. Because I'm trying to just have all the new knives in my drawers now. And all the old ones from the original company I'm putting into collection. I'm letting them become collectors. So you guys are witnessing the transformation of my collection. And the ones that I'm replacing with new models are the ones I like the best. And yes, this is one of the ones I like the best. I didn't get one last year. I meant to get one last year. Well, no, I'm saying last year. This isn't 2025 yet. This is still 2024. So I guess I did make it this year. I didn't think I was going to get it this year, but I came across a great deal on Amazon at the Cold Steel store. And so I just had to go for it. How much was it? $95. It wasn't a super duper great deal like I sometimes get, but it was like $20 or $30, $40 cheaper than I've seen them going for at other sites. And it came from Cold Steel. That's the Cold Steel website on Amazon, or store on Amazon. And here it is. Oh yeah. Oh no, wait a minute. No, we're not there yet. Oh, we already done it. Okay. I'm sorry, people. Got a little moment there. This one is the CPMS 35VN model. This is the last one I bought before I purchased this brand new one. This is the last one I got from the original company. It's been heavily used. All these knives have been users except for this one. This is the only one that hasn't been used, and this one is going to be used. So whenever I purchased a Lawman, people, I used it. And this one's been totally resharpened and reprofiled at a different blade angle. Put a polished edge on it. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Those are my American Lawmen. It's one of the most highly recommended knives I recommend for a 3.5-inch blade folder. I think it's a Hall of Fame knife. I think it should be in the Hall of Fame for folders. Highly recommended, people. I think it's one of the best gifts you can give somebody if you want to give somebody a pocket knife with a 3.5-inch blade. Okay, with that said, let's move on. Let's bring out some of these other recommendations I have. I'm going to keep this one out here. I'm going to remove all these others. That's just the first round, people. We got several rounds to go through. This is going to be a long video. Get ready for a long one, people. Next, I'm going to go into some of the old timers. Some of the old timers that I have that I absolutely love, and I recommend to collectors, people who can find these to collect. I know a lot of people are, into collecting like I am. And this would be an awesome gift to somebody that collects cold steel knives. This had their lock that was like the Axis lock. I always forget the name of this lock. Then you guys always remind me of it in the videos, in the comments. But this is an awesome 3.5-inch blade folder too. I want to say it's like the Ultra Lock or something like that. I can't remember what the name of it was. But Cold Steel only made it for a little bit. I think they only used it in the Recon 1 series, in the very first Recon 1 series, and the very first AK-47 series. These were the first of the AK-47s, and the Recon 1s originally had the same type of lock too. I don't have one of those though. I do have one of these, or two of them. This is the one with the G10 handle scales. This is an Oz 8 blade, hollow ground blade, saber hollow ground blade with a fuller in it, or a blood groove, with a wave plate. It wasn't a Demco wave plate yet, though, because Andrew Demco wasn't with Cold Steel yet. And this back spacer is it's made out of I think it's either Grivery or a G10 or something. It's not a metal, but it is fully lined with steel liners. So it is a pretty heavy duty knife. The next one up I have is one with the aluminum handles. And it has steel liners also. Didn't have the Tough X finish on the blade though. And this finish, I'm not exactly sure what they called it, but it does look like a finish though, people. Like a silver finish. These are awesome collectors. I would recommend these for Christmas gifts for people who want to collect, they're into collecting cold steels. I know if you know somebody like that, I know they would really love to have one of these if they don't have one presently. Now we're going to get into the AK-47s that I used. This is one that I used. It originally came with a Tough X finish. And I took off the Tough X finish, and underneath the Tough X finish was a nice stone wash. So I left it stone washed. And that's the Andrew Demco wave plate, because this is one that's designed by Andrew Demco. These weren't designed by Andrew Demco. This is an Andrew Demco AK-47. And instead of having the GrivX backspacer, it has a 6061 heat-treated aluminum backspacer. Yes. This is the knife I would recommend as a gift for somebody that wants to get one as a user. Now, this is the Oz 8 version, so it's the old version, but the newer versions weren't that much different, I think, it's other than the blade steel, I think. This is the newest one I have. This one is the CTS XHP version. I think they still make these, and I think you can get them in S35VN now. I don't have one of the newest ones. It's another knife I need to get, because this is one of my favorites. It's one that I've forgotten about, though, until I decided to do this video. Because I haven't carried these for a long time, people. I used to carry them all the time. I remember I stopped carrying them because I thought it was too much handle for the blade. But nowadays, I think a little bit differently. Nowadays, I don't really care about how big the handle is. What I care about is how comfortable the handle is, how nicely it fits in my hand. And this one is a very comfortable handle. And it's sort of like a Spartan handle where it'd be really hard for somebody to grab this from the front part of this knife and pull it out of your hand because it hooks on your hand. So it gives you a very strong grip. Reverse grip is not my favorite, though, because this is kind of pointy right here. If this was more rounded, it'd be a lot more comfortable. That's the AK-47. Another great gift idea, I think, is the AK-47. This one had DLC coating. The newer ones from the CTS 6HP on up are the ones I would recommend for somebody that wants to get one as a user. Now the CTS 6HP ones they don't make anymore, but I think they still make this model in S35VN, which is another great steel. It's not, to me, the performance is pretty much CTS 6HP and S35VN are pretty close in performance, people. I think CTS 6HP might hold the edge a slight bit longer. But I think S35VN is a little bit tougher. So, it's whatever you desire. Whatever you desire. All right, let's move on to the next group. That was the AK-47s. AK-47s. This is the knife where, it's for somebody who wants more of a soldier-style knife. A little bit more heavy duty. A little bit more tactical. That's the person I would recommend an AK-47 for. I've sort of changed my style and the type of knives I like to carry a little bit, I think. This one's still my style, though. That one's still my style. Okay, next up. Next group of knives I really like. Would have to be the Code 4s. I love my Code 4s. This is another one that I need to get a new model of. I will get a new model of. Absolutely love the Code 4s, people. And I've been carrying these since the beginning, too. This is my newest one. That's my newest Code 4. That's the one Rob did for me at Snaggletooth. It's a left-handed carry. It's for reverse draw out of your right-hand pocket. That's what that one's set up for. So we'll put this one like this so the pocket clip sit right side up. Now the stock version of that one is this one. Now these both have S35VN blades. They're about 3.6 inches long. Like 3.6 instead of 3.5. They're just a touch hair over a 3.5-inch blade. But I decided to put them in here with this category too because they're closer to 3.5 inches and they are 3 3/4. So I think they sort of fit in. They're sort of like an oddball size. But I absolutely love the size of these. They feel really good in your hand. They feel like a smaller size Recon 1. They have the 6061 aluminum handles. heat-treated aluminum handles. Backspacer 6061 heat-treated aluminum also. The blades on these two are CPM S35VN, and it's a saber hollow grind with a swedge. Sort of like the Swift model was made. All right, people. Let's go on to the next one. Next up, another Cove 4. This Cove 4 is I think the next one they came out with was, so we're still on the S35ENs. This is the S35EN. I'm checking to make sure. Yep, S35EN. Cove 4 Tonto. Now this one really looks like a Recon. Absolutely love it. Totally stock. Then after that one, they came out with the CTS 6HPs. That's what this one is. CTS 6HP. I mean, before the S35EN, they came out with CTS 6HP. We're doing it in reverse order on this one. We're going from new to old. So the next one up after S35ENs was the CTS 6HP. All the same specs. Next one up would be the, and last but not least, is the Oz 8s. Now this one's been polished. This is one of the ones I used to carry back in the day. As you all know, I like to polish things. This has been polished. The same specs, just different blade steel. The handles and everything are just the same. These are all set up for right-hand carry. And this one was set up for left-hand carry. Highly recommend these as Christmas gifts too. Absolutely love them. They have a 3.5 millimeter thick blade stock. Like I said, the blade is just a touch over 3.5 inches. The handle's made out of 6061 aircraft grade aluminum, which is like a common metal that's used in engine blocks. Like probably the engines in your car are made with 6061 or 7075 aluminum. 6061 tends to be a little bit more popular because it's a little bit tougher. And what I mean by tougher, just like blade steels, when you get a blade steel that's let's say like an ingot steel, like a carbon ingot steel compared to a carbon stainless steel, the ingot steel is a little bit tougher. The carbon ingot steel is a little bit tougher than the stainless steel, as far as brittleness is concerned. And that's how the 6061 is compared to the 7075. 7075 has a higher tensile strength. And it's super strong also. I don't know. Maybe that one would actually be tougher. I don't know. I don't know. I know 6061 is super tough, people. They use it in Harley Davidson engines and all sorts of stuff. All sorts of motorcycle engines have been using 6061 forever for engine blocks, for the actual engine block and the cylinders. That's what they use. And so I know it's super tough. I know that, just from having engines I've thrashed the hell out of it, and it holds up. It doesn't fall apart. So I know if it's good enough for, an engine block, it's good enough for a knife handle. That's all I've got to say. 6061 aluminum is super tough stuff, people. And 7075 aluminum is the thing. The reason why they don't use so much 7075 aluminum, from what I understand, is that it's harder to machine because it's a harder material. It's more dense. It weighs more, and it's a little bit harder to machine, and it tears up bits and stuff on machining. Whereas 6061 is a little bit easier to machine because it's a little bit softer. And that's why I think it might be a little bit tougher, because usually things are a little bit softer or less brittle, and they tend to be a little bit tougher sometimes. But anyway, let's move on. I don't know. A lot of that's speculation on my part. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a metallurgist. So I'm just, saying what my opinions and my feelings are. It's not any scientific evaluation. It's not something that you should base facts on or anything else like that. It's just my opinion. All right, people. Well, let's move on to the next group. That's the Code 4s. That's the Code 4s. I highly recommend Code 4s for Christmas gifts. To me, it's like the first full metal knife that I could think of from, besides like the Bushman or what do you call it, the one that the survival knife that was made by Andrew Dimko. But I think this is like the first full metal one that was meant to be like an EDC knife. And that's the way I think of this one. I think of it as an EDC knife, people. The Code 4s or EDC knives, just like the American Lawman. I think the American Lawman is supposed to be an EDC knife. And we're going to get to another one, too. I think it's supposed to be EDC knife, but a little bit more robust, on a little bit more robust side. Which one is that? Well, oh, yeah. This is the medium Espada. They don't make these anymore, but if you can find these, a collector would like to have them, and somebody who likes to use a knife would like to have them, too. This is an awesome user. This one's been a user for me. I've had it for years, ever since it was new, when they first came out. It's got DLC coating on it, CTS 6HP blade. Absolutely love it. Heat treated 6061 backspacer, G10 scales. Absolutely love it. 3.5-inch blade, 4mm thick. It's got partial stainless steel liners that encase the triad pins. This pin the screw right here, this pin right here, and this pin right here are encased by a partial stainless steel liner. You can't see it on this one so well because it's coated black, but they're in there. They give the liners or the lock bar more strength. The Espada was the strongest model that Cold Steel made for a long time. And here's my original one. It came with a bead blasted blade. And I polished everything all out. This is another medium Espada. This is the Oz 8. These are the original ones. There you can see the heat-treated backspacer. You can see what it looks like. And on this one, you can see the partial stainless steel liners. Absolutely love it. And this one's still in use, too. This one's still in use. It's one of my knives I carry inside my jacket pocket. So I don't have a pocket clip on this one. All the knives that you see without pocket clips are knives I like to carry inside jacket pockets. Now you pretty much use all my old Oz 8 models for that. I like those for that purpose. But that's these two, people. These are the Espadas. 4mm thick blade stock. High saber hologram blades. The Spanish Bowie or clip style blade. Absolutely love them, people. Absolutely love them. I highly recommend these for Christmas gifts too, if you can find these. You can still find these, on eBay and different websites. Sometimes they're kind of expensive though. They're really nice ones or really rare ones, like the XHP ones. They'll be a little bit more expensive, people. So I know, but it's an awesome knife. I don't know why they stopped making it. I think that's awesome. It's an awesome knife. Okay, next one. Well, did I mention that these have perfect balance also? These got good balance too. So yes, that makes them, very easy to maneuver in your hand. Absolutely love them. It always cracks me up. I always hear people talking about, I can't open and close a triad folder with one hand. Okay. That's all I got to say is okay. I don't understand that. I guess, if you're not very coordinated, I guess maybe. This is a CPN 20CV from Italy. What model is this? The Storm Cloud. It had the laminated carbon fiber over G10 handle scales with the G10 backspacer. Absolutely love it. Another nice 3.5-inch blade. This one they don't make anymore either. This one's probably very hard to find, and it's probably, if you do, it's probably very expensive. Because this was a top of the line model from Cold Steel. That's why it has a 20 CV blade. And it was expensive from the get-go anyway. So I know as a collector, they don't make these anymore. I'm pretty sure they don't make these anymore. And so I'm pretty sure this would be hard to find and might be kind of expensive. But it is an awesome knife. It is an awesome knife. Absolutely love it. Let me see. What other ones? I only have like one other, whatever. Let me see. Oh, here we go. This is a Pro Light. Now, this is a little budget knife. I'm not sure if they still make these. They probably still make these. But these would be like a little budget knife, a little triad folder. And it's a great little beater. So got the 4116 German corrupt stainless steel blade. Not the greatest stainless steel, but for $30 or 20, $30 or whatever it costs, it's okay. The grind lines aren't perfect on it. It's a total budget knife. But you can straighten that out by yourself if you wanted to. Great little budget knife. Lightweight, Grivix handle and backspacer. Budget. It's a budget knife. Another great little inexpensive Cold Steel, but it's a little bit better than this one. This one is the Airlight. I carried this one for a little while. The only thing that turned me off about this one is the big pocket clip, but they're making these in black now. I've been thinking about getting the black version of this one because the big black pocket clip will still be okay. But this has got the Japanese AUS 10A steel. I think this might be a Mike Wallace design. I can't remember if some of these are Mike Wallace designs or not. Because I know Mike Wallace, towards the end of Cold Steel, he was designing a lot of knives for Cold Steel too. It wasn't all Andrew Demko. It was Andrew Demko and Mike Wallace. And when Andrew Demko went off on his own, he took Mike Wallace with him. Mike Wallace, who's been working at Demko Knives. I don't know if he still works there, but I know when they first started, he was working there. So I'm not sure who designed any of these knives. I think they all could possibly be Mike Wallace designs. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, people. I'm not sure. I'm not going to tell you there's something if I'm not sure. And this one right here is one that I carried the mess out of. The mess out of. And you can tell it's got wear all over it. Wear all over it. It's been polished. Super fast. Got a polished edge on it. Edges. I've had a lot of Rajah 3s, people. The first one I had, I ended up totally polishing it until it was like, you could see yourself in it. It was like a big, looking in a mirror. It was like, it's a beautiful knife. And my sister liked it. And she didn't have a knife, and she started working at the casino, and she was worried about walking out to her car at night, and she just felt like she just might have something extra on herself. So I gave her my polished Rajah 3. And at that time, that was my prize carry. I love these little knives. I always wish that they'd make them with better handle scales, though, and stuff like that. That's the way I feel about the Rajah series, period. Same thing goes for the Voyager. I wish they would offer it like in G10 and stuff instead of just Grivix all the time. Because these are really awesome knives. You know me, I'm a handle person, people. And this one, the handle feels perfect in every grip. I mean, the thumb ramp right here, it feels perfect. It feels perfect. Oh, I love the way this one feels in my hand. And that's the reason why I carried it so much. And I've forgotten how much I loved it until I decided to do this video. And I pulled out all, I went searching through my collection through all my 3.5-inch folders. And I've forgotten how much I love this one. I might have to, get another one of these too. Because I still love this one, people. Absolutely love it. So that's those. That's those. Okay. Now it's time to get into something a little bit more modern, huh? Let's get into a little bit more modern. But all of these I highly recommend if you can find any of these knives as a gift for Christmas for somebody that's a knife lover. I think they would love them. I think they would love them. Excellent gifts. Next up. All right. All right. So we got those, huh? Well, let's get into some more modern knives now. Some of my more modern 3.5-inch folders that I've fallen in love with lately. And this is one right here, the Carve. I absolutely love the Carve, people. It's got a ingot steel blade, Japanese ingot steel blade, AUS 10A, stainless steel, annealed stainless steel. It's got, I think it's a more of a hollow grind than it is a flat grind. Because I think I've said it was a flat grind before, but I think it's actually like a hollow. Like a saber hollow. But it's a shallow hollow. It's not like a real deep hollow. I love it. Whatever it is, I love it. I love it. The thickness of the blade is really nice. I love the way this handle feels. This is a G10 handle. It's fully steel lined. So it's not a very lightweight knife. It's not a super lightweight knife. I think it still weighs under 6 ounces if I can't remember right. It's a very, very nice knife. Very nice to carry all day. Very nice to use all day. I use the crap out of this knife. It's a fun fidgeter. This is a fidget master. This knife likes to fidget all day long. All day long, people. But the one little quirk about it, it does have a little quirk. Because after a while, the spring will become a little bit worn because the spring is kind of light. It's easy to use this locking mechanism. And I think the spring should be a little bit stiffer and a little bit stronger in this one. And, supply a little bit more tension, make it be a little bit harder to use. But that's the reason why they probably use a light spring, because they want to keep it easy to use. But the light spring, I think, wears out too fast. At least with me. Maybe for you, it probably lasts a lifetime because you may not fidget with it all day long, like I fidget with knives. But after about, like 2 weeks of fidgeting with it, it'll start to get a little bit, like a little tiny tick of up and down. Just a tiny tick. It's not a big deal. And it's still, even if I didn't, re-stretch out the spring to make it, take away the tick, it would still be a perfectly fine knife because this knife has to move a long ways before it comes unlocked, people. Look at that, all the way back here. It has to move like a 1/2 inch. This bar has to slide like a 1/2 inch down before it comes unlocked. Right there, it comes unlocked. So a little tiny tick on this doesn't mean that's an unsafe knife. That's what I'm saying. It's just a little tiny tick. And if you get that kind of development in yours, if you get one, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, people. All throughout my knife use history, just up until recently, they started making knives that didn't develop little ticks. But that used to be like the standard on all knives, people. They used to always develop little ticks and get your little blade, and you weren't able to adjust them because they were all pinned together. And so, all you could do is try to press it back together, but sometimes that wouldn't work. But you just had to live with it. But, they would have a little bit up and down tick, the buck knives, all the manufacturers. It didn't matter if it was a cheap or inexpensive knife, or expensive knife or a cheap knife. It didn't matter. They would all get the little tick. And so that's what this one gets. If you don't know how to take it apart and stretch out the spring and take away the tick, that's what this one will have. It'll develop a little up and down blade tick. But it's just a very, very slight tick, people. It's just slight. And it's like, the only reason why I notice it is because I've gotten used to knives that never get any ticks. Like a triad folder. Triad folder knows how to self-adjust. And so they don't get the blade ticks. But a lot of knife types or lock types don't self-adjust super well. And any kind of the coil spring knives with the coil spring in the handle, they need to have a strong spring that keeps pushing the lock bar forward, with a lot of strength. But if they don't push the lock bar forward with a lot of strength and they start getting a little bit weaker, that's when you get a little bit of blade tick because it won't be pushing so hard up against the blade tang. That's my evaluation of it. But anyway, still a beautiful knife. I love the Atlas lock, people. I love the Atlas lock. You just got to understand how it works. I love the Atlas lock. Any kind of crossbar lock, they all get the same issue. I don't care if it's a mega spring or coil spring, crossbar lock, they can all get the same issue, people. They all have like the same issues. All right, next one up. This is another Atlas lock that has like perfect detent. This is the only one I've ever gotten that has like a perfect detent. That's a perfect detent. You can't shake it loose, people. Oh, perfect detent. This is the first, what I would call a real gentleman's knife folder from Cold Steel. Now this one gets close. These get close. You know, to me, these get close. You know, maybe this is the first gentleman's folder. But, you know, this is like, I think this is more of a gentleman's folder because this is more tactical. This is really just like a downsized Recon 1. That's what the Code 4 feels like to me. Even though it's nice and slim and it could be definitely a gentleman's folder. But this one feels more like it was never designed to be like a Recon 1 or anything or trying to copy into anything. It's its own folder. It's its own knife. It's its own design. And I absolutely love it. And I think this is what Cold Steel intended to this one to be. It's like a gentleman's folder. It's got titanium handles. Titanium handles, people. CPMS 35VM blade with a high saber ground. Spear point, drop point style blade. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Another one I would highly recommend. The FM1 from Cold Steel. The FM1. Is it the first full metal knife? No. I still think these are the first full metal knives. I think those are the first full metal knives, the Code 4s. That's my opinion. I think it's the first full metal knife. I don't care what anybody says. Okay. From Cold Steel. All right. What's next up? What's next up? What else we got over here, huh? Now the new ones, huh? Now let's go ahead and put these away. Put these away. And let's get into these. Some more Atlas locks. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, these three right here are my favorite Atlas lock folders. Now, you know, I love the Mayhem. That's true. That's true. I love my Mayhem, but I don't carry my Mayhem. I carry these, though. And this one has been carried the most. This one's been carried, you know, pretty much as any other knife I've owned. I've carried the mess out of this knife. And I highly recommend it. I think it makes a great Christmas gift. And all these knives have been modified with the original goat skip bearing kits and scale kits. Scale and skip bearing kits that you can get from Original Goat. This one has the Original Goat OG1 pattern. This one has the Original Goat Shark's Tooth pattern. And this one has the Original Goat Drift pattern. This one's titanium, the drift pattern, with the CPMS 35VN, Tonto blade with a hollow grind, saber hollow grind with the flat ground tip, 3.8 millimeter thick blade. It's actually like 3.7, I think it was. Absolutely love it. This one has aluminum scales. They're coated with purple OG1, the purple OG1 color. It's been polished by myself. It's got the CPMS 35VM blade. And it's a saber flat ground blade. 3.5-inch blade. Absolutely love it. Same thickness. And this one is the OG one. This is my favorite one right here. And did I mention that these have perfect, balance, people? Perfect balance. The only one that doesn't, though, is titanium. That's the reason why I don't really prefer titanium. I love the way titanium looks. I know it's super expensive. I know it's super classy. All that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yada, 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 yada. But it always messes up the balance. This knife is supposed to be perfectly balanced, people. It messes up the balance. So what does that mean? It's hard to manipulate in my hand. It's all awkward to manipulate in my hand. So it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. This one with aluminum, it's got perfect balance. And it's easy to manipulate. Easy to manipulate. Can you tell the difference? That's why I prefer the aluminum scales from Original Goat over the titanium, over the brass, over the copper. You know, I love all those materials. They make beautiful knives, but if I'm going to make a knife that I'm going to carry, I want aluminum. Because aluminum's light and it's strong. That's all I need, light and strong. It's a little bit stronger than G10. G10 is almost at the same tensile strength as aluminum. But aluminum's slightly stronger. So, you know, I'd be happy if these were G10 handles or carbon fiber or whatever. But, you know, aluminum, carbon fiber, G10, I love them all. I love them all. Micarta, I love micarta too. I love micartas. I like all the different micartas. I like micarta, you know, those are like my favorite knife handle scales. Titanium, I like titanium. I like copper. I like brass. I do have copper knives. I do have brass knives. And I do have titanium knives. Lots of them. And so I know all about copper, brass, and titanium handles. I have lots of knives with those metals in them or whatever. The handles made out of them. And they're all very heavy. Heavier than they need to be, in my opinion. I think, you know, this knife, the way this one is put together, is a perfect weight. It feels perfect in my hand. It's easy to carry. This one, it gets a little bit too heavy and it starts to pull down my pants. And the balance is off, so I can't manipulate my hand super fast or super comfortably, you know, knowing that I have super good control over the knife. When I have the best control over a knife, it's when it bounces like that. That's why I have the best control over a knife in my hands. That's why I feel like it's the best for self-defense for me. For me. You may be different. You may like blade heavy. You might like handle heavy. I like 50-50 balance at the front finger groove. That's what I call a perfect knife to me. All right, people. Let me see what else we got over here. I think we got one more round to go through. One more round of 3.5-inch blade knives I recommend for Christmas that are in my collection that I've been using over the years and I really like. And let's start off with the the creme de la creme, the 8010. This is the ultimate 3.5-inch blade folder. To me, this is the ultimate. The ultimate is I don't know. This one feels the best in my hand. Feels the best in my hand. It's big. It's strong. It's one of the strongest knives that Andrew Demko says that he has ever made in a fold. He thinks this is one of the strongest folders he's ever designed, ever made. Is the 8010. And I absolutely love it. Now, this isn't the original blade design. The original blade design has more of a drop point. I think it's called a drop point. And the original one had a saber hollow ground blade. And then the latter model came out, the one that they're still making now, has a saber flat ground blade. But that's not my favorite model. This is my favorite model. This is the model that GSM came out with. And I don't know if it was the Andrew Demko design that never got produced from Cold Steel or what, but whatever. This is the one that I like. I like this Tonto blade. This Tonto blade to me is just too sexy. Too sexy. This is an awesome blade. Look at that. Look at that. It's got a saber. It's got mid saber, not high saber, mid saber. Saber hollow ground blade with a flat ground tip. And look at that. Look at that, people. Look at that. Is that beautiful or what? I absolutely love this knife. Absolutely love it. Look at that. I love it. I love it, people. And yes, We're talking 50-50 at the finger groove. Perfect. This is a perfect knife. Perfect knife. It's the one that I love the most. But we got a new contender. But first, let's talk about the 8010s. This one right here is the one I've been carrying lately. And yes, for my giveaway, it's going to have a set of gun stock scales like this on an 8010 light model. Gun stock scales I'm going to polish out. I absolutely love these, people. Absolutely love them. It's hard to beat the 8010. Absolutely love it. 8010s rock. They're the coolest of the triad folders, if you ask me. Because you can't operate none of the other triad folders like this. These are just, I don't know, they're just beautiful knives. Beautiful knives, people. I can't tell you, look at that. Beautiful knife. That's what you want. At least that's what I want. I want a perfectly balanced knife that's easy to manipulate in my hand. So that means I could use it for whatever I need to use it for. I could slash. I could do whatever I want. Bam, bam, It's an awesome knife. It's a beautiful knife, people. Highly recommend it. And these, where I live, I can carry this anywhere. It's only got a 3.5-inch blade. I can carry this anywhere. It's when you get above 4 inches, and where I live, where you start having some issues maybe with the police if they see something on you or something like that. So this is, I don't have to worry about somebody trying to take that from me or whatever. I'm talking about law enforcement, take it, confiscate it or whatever, saying it's a dangerous weapon. It totally fits in the boundaries of where I live, the legal boundaries. And this one right here, this is a light model, people. I'm going to be giving away a light model with scales like this on it. But these scales right here are some of my favorites, the OG ones, because they have texturing all over the entire scales. So when I manipulate it in my hand, I can always feel where the knife is. Absolutely love it. And this one right here, the light models, in my opinion, are the easiest to manipulate. I don't know what it is, but these have a Grivex backspacer instead of a 6061 aluminum backspacer like the S35VN models have. The Oz 10 models come with a Grivex backspacer with metal inserts that you screw into, which is a little bit nicer because you'll never have to worry about, you have less chance of stripping them out as opposed to aluminum. But the heat-treated aluminum, though, I've stripped out one of these before, but one of the screws and one of the ones I have, one of the older ones I have. But that's you got to be careful. With aluminum, whenever you're screwing into heat-treated aluminum, even if it's heat-treated aluminum, you still need to be careful, people. You can't torque down into it like you're torquing down into something that's made out of steel. It's a little bit different. You got to be, you got to be a little bit more careful. And if you're careful with it, you won't never have any problems. The one that I messed up was, I think, the screw hole. I think I went into it a little bit cross-threaded or something, and I messed up the screw hole. You just got to be careful. But these right here are awesome. Absolutely love them, people. Highly recommend the light. The light model, I highly recommend it for a modification like what I did on this one. This knife is totally stock. Nothing's modified on it except for the handle scales. And the handle scales aren't modified. These are the way that they came from original Go. So I just took a stock knife that was brand new, like I'm going to do for you, and took a set of stock scales, they're brand new, and just put it together. And it turned out being my most fidgety knife ever, as far as like a triad lock is concerned. But all of these are fidgety. This one's just more fidgety than these. These you have to put a little bit more pressure on the lock bar to unlock the blade. This one, you don't have to put hardly any pressure. I think it's because, I'm going to say it, I think the Grivex lock bar or where the torsion spring fits into the Grivex lock bar. I wonder if it flexes a little bit, because that might be the reason why it's easier. Because other than that, all the parts are the same. So it shouldn't be easier, but it is. But anyway, that's it, people. That's all of them. These are all my recommendations. Let's do a top 5 recommendation. Top 5 recommendation. So I'm going to put most of these away. Actually, no, I'm going to leave this one out because that's more like a stock knife. Because I want to recommend knives that you can actually sort of buy. Okay? You can still buy 8010s, especially ones like this. This is a brand new knife. Been purchased recently within the last year or so. So they're still making these. This is another one of my top recommendations, the American Lawman. Let me see what else I'm going to pick from over here. Okay. Oh, yeah, got to get in another one of my favorite Atlas locks. And what else would I want to recommend? And I'm going to go with, oh, yeah, Code 4. Code 4, these two pretty much like the same category of knife to me. The only difference really is to me is that, excuse me, people. One has aluminum scales or aluminum handles, and one has G10 handles. So it's like a matter of preference. But, this one has a little bit better gripping areas too, the American Lawman. I like it a little bit better than the Code 4. But they're both super awesome knives, people. Super awesome knives. Okay, what else I'm going to recommend? We got 4 up there. We need one more. One more. Let me see. What would I want to do here? We got the American Lawman. We got a Code 4. We got an 8010. We got an Engage. And all these you can still buy. What can you do over here? Oh. This one I would recommend too as a... Oh, wait a minute. No. We're leaving out something here. We're leaving out something. Oh, man, I would have been mad if I forgot to do this. Okay, now I know why the 5 is messed up. I got to take the one that's in my pocket. What's in my pocket? Oh, yeah. My Bush Ranger. The Bush Ranger. The Bush Ranger. The Bush Ranger. This is my new favorite knife, people. I absolutely love the handles on this one. The handles on this one is like awesome. This is really super cool 3.5-inch blade folder. I super highly recommend this one. It's got the Andrew Dimko weight plate, 4 millimeter, but we measured that was 3.95 millimeter to be exact, thick blade stock, super thick, and super sharp. It's got thick G10 handle scales, American G10 handle scales that are contoured to perfection. The backspacer is a G10 backspacer with metal inserts that, you don't have to worry about stripping out screws again. So it's, it's a very well-made knife. It's easy to take apart and put together. The pivot is a T15, people. But they still use T6s for the body screws and the clip screws. Absolutely love this one. CPM S35 VM blade. Oh, yeah. And it's fidgety. But this one will be it'll make your thumbs get a little bit sore if you don't have cold steel thumbs with cold steel calluses and got cold steel finger strength. You probably won't be able to operate as easily as me. But this one is a fidgeter. It likes to fidget, people. I've been carrying this knife all week since I purchased it. And all I can tell you is that it's a fun knife. I love it. Absolutely love it. Highly recommend it. It cost me $56, or was it $56 or $59? I think it was $59 at Midway USA on sale. These are normally like $140, $50, $60 knives. And sometimes you can catch them on sale for maybe $100 to $125. And I think Amazon might have them going now for $89 or something like that. I think I saw it on Amazon had a low price offering also. But I highly recommend this one, people. Highly, highly, highly recommend this one. At anything under $100, this knife is a steal. It's definitely worth over $100. I never purchased one before because these were always like $150. And I didn't want to spend $150. But when I saw it offered for $59 at Midway, I couldn't believe it. I went for it. And after I bought it and purchased it and received it and told you all about it, I went and got another one because I loved it so much. So I'm still waiting on my second one to come. But I highly recommend this for Christmas gifts, people. And that's going to be my number 5. So there you go right there. Code 4, American Lawman, Bush Ranger, 8010, and Engage. 3.5-inch blade Engage. Those are my top 5 recommendations. Peace. Stiletto. And ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.